competency 4, cultivating trust and safety. This competency is, again, foundational to building connection, rapport, and the relational aspects of coaching with your client. It is what brings safety and support into the conversation, because the client must feel safe to be able to fully explore their thoughts, their beliefs, and their experiences. So when we talk about cultivating trust and safety, what we're really highlighting is the need to self-manage our judgments and our opinions in favor of leaning into the client's experience. So nothing has actually changed with this competency in the updates of 2025. What we want to highlight is the meaning that people make of trust and safety. And when I say people, I mean coaches who are practicing as professional coaches under the ICF banner. So the conference that the ICF attended to update the competencies included discussion around what is the meaning of safety and trust. And although none of the language has changed, what we wanted to highlight is differentiating between sympathy and empathy. Coaches are meant to sit in an empathetic space with a client. It means I see you, I hear you, you matter to me, but I am not relating to what you are saying in that moment because I don't want to rob you of your experience. So coaches are not meant to relate, to be able to allow a client to share their experience from their belief system, from their context, and from their personal experience and the meaning they've made of that experience. So when we sit in empathy with clients, we of course are human, and we use that human connection, that relational connection, that energetic connection, while also leaving the space to the client to explore what's emerging for them. So whereas sympathy would be more of what you're feeling, I have felt it too. Now I'm in my experience, I'm starting to share my emotion about that experience, and I've shifted the emphasis from the coachee to myself. And that's what we want to avoid in this competency. When a coach is practicing trust and safety, it really is about creating the space where the client is in a mindset that they believe they can change. And that is not something we want to take for granted as coaches. People come to coaching for the partnering and supportive essence of the relationship. Partnering is collaborative. It's partnership of equal. There's no hierarchy in coaching. And that equality is essential for clients to be able to experience what they're experiencing, to go deeper than they've ever gone before, and potentially share something with their coach that they've never shared with anyone. So the confidentiality is also a reminder here of being embedded in this conversation, and surrounding this conversation is confidentiality, which is essential to trust and safety. We also want to reinforce that trust and safety is about the client's experience of it. It's not something we can force on a coachee. So trust is earned. As coaches, what we can do is use our skills and our competencies and the strategies that we're learning to build trust and safety into the conversation, using acknowledgments, silence, pause, eye contact, your body energy, your facial expressions. All of that builds trust and safety. Although we can't force the client to feel trust and safety, we can bring it into the conversation. In fact, at Coach Academy, we often say that ease begins with the coach. So you have the power as a human being connecting with another human being to bring energy into that session. And that energy has to be given generously. In other words, without expectation. No expectation of receiving something back, really sitting in that no cherished outcomes mindset, giving trust with no expectation of it landing as trust. And in that way, you are truly exhibiting what it means to build trust and safety. Another piece that we want to highlight here is that self-management becomes really important at this point because we are, giving without expectation of receiving. That's a hard thing to do as a human being. So we have to self-manage our need to want something from our client, to expect something back. We really have to be selfless in our approach to trust and safety for it to truly embody the conversation. And of course, it begins with your curiosity. It begins with your willingness to witness the client as opposed to interact with the client. I love what Statler says about coaching conversations, that there is no dialogue. There's not an expectation of dialogue in coaching. It's really a one-way safety conversation. It's a conversation that is designed for another. So think about that as you consider this competency and what it looks like for you. So as mentioned, when a coach is doing this competency, trust and safety well, you are creating an experience for your coachee where they are truly feeling seen and heard and that the space is created for them. That you are also aware of the client's context, their full context, including the stories they're telling themselves and what context they're bringing into the situation. And you're not imposing your own context on your coachee. You're also very mindful of your body language and your facial expressions and how that may be affecting your coachee. And also noticing how you might be leading the conversation with your language and your what you're paying attention to, what you're picking up on from your coachee. So again, curiosity is the key. We're leading with curiosity. We're self-managing, and we're very mindful of how we're showing up to the conversation. So new coaches coming to this competency, often the first mistake is wanting and expecting something from the client. And that means that we're waiting for a response, kind of like we have too much cherished outcome from this. I need something from my client. So letting go of your need to control, to fix, to save, or even to solution for your client. We really want to sit in that energy of no expectation and childlike wonder. Beginner's mind is what Coach Academy calls it. And it's how we speak about coming to a situation as though you're witnessing it for the very first time. And that requires, again, self-management. So most of the time, new people to coaching will have a tough time with self-management. And that's why at Coach Academy, we spend a lot of time embedding strategies to self-manage our own beliefs, our emotional reactions to another person, our judgments, our opinions, and our relating, because we often relate to what people say. So we really want to create a circle around a client or a coachee that isn't about the coach at all. Final thoughts on cultivating trust and safety are that it is absolutely foundational to a coaching conversation, as are all of the competencies. This one in particular is energetic, and it is something that you want to think about how you're going to show up to before the conversation. Think about, what does trust and safety look like and feel like and sound like to you before you enter the conversation, to be intentional about how you're showing up for your clients.